What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Make Money and Have Fun show. As you can see, we got a little bit of a change of scenery today. I got my dream catcher going on so that I only have good dreams from here on out that I'm manifesting into reality. And then, of course, I got to have my mandatory, what is this, an oil diffuser? I think it's an oil a humidifier shaped like a raccoon. So I'm at my girlfriend's house today. We're having a blast. We're out here doing author month all month long. If you don't know what's going on, what I'm doing is I'm going live every single day this month with a different author. Today I got a really cool conversation going on, so let's get into it.
My motto in life is make money and have fun. I'm on a mission to show everyone how to make money, yeah, and have fun. I'm all about making money and having fun.
You know what that music means. That means it is go time today. So today I'm actually hanging out with a really cool person. I just met him a couple days ago when I did my kind of sizzle reel for this show. Mr. Brian K. Wright is an author, as well as all kinds of other really cool stuff that he does. So I'm excited to talk to him, and I hope you are just as excited to hear from him. So let's put our hands together for Mr. Brian Wright. What's up,
Hey,
Brian?
everyone. Hey, Fred. Thank you.
Can you hear everybody clapping for you?
Yes, I hear it.
I love it. I love it. Brian, what's going on, man? I'm so excited to have you on the show.
I'm glad to be here. This is fun. I've been looking forward to this for a while. I love your energy and I love what you're doing. So thank you.
Man. I'm glad to have you here. This is so cool. You know, I hang out with cool people. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where you always ask yourself the question, am I one of those people who lights up the room when I enter it or when I leave it?
Oh, it's when you come in. It's when you come in.
Thank you. Thank you. So I try to be that person as much as I can, and I try to hang out with other people that are just like that. So, Brian, you got to start us off here, man. Tell us about you. Who are you? What do you do? Give us a little background on Brian Wright.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town in Iowa. So that's where it all started. And I ended up going to college at Iowa State. I majored in communication studies, and I went to Nebraska for graduate school and got my degree there at adult education. I taught in a two-year business college for about 5 years, actually. Taught public speaking, English composition, and business math. You might wonder, what do those topics have in common? They were all required courses. So I felt like it was my job to make it as fun as possible, because people had to take my class. And so when you're taking required classes, they're not always very fun. You're always at a place where you're thinking, I can't wait to get out of this. But I wanted it to be the opposite of it. I wanted to have fun and help people learn. Yeah. So to take off from your motto a little bit, have fun and make money. It's like, let's have fun and learn.
There it is.
So that's what I did. And that was then. So I'm a teacher at heart and ended up coming out to Arizona. Worked in the call center world for quite a while, not only calling, but I also got promoted several times in several companies to a supervisor role. I did payroll in one company for 3 locations, 400 representatives every week, and was promoted to a training position in a couple of companies. That those positions were created specifically for me because I was doing pretty well. And they said, you have to tell everyone and show everyone how you're doing what you're doing. So I've gotten to use my desire to teach, educate, motivate, and inspire people all the way through. And that led to doing a radio show. I started January 2012. So I had my 9-year anniversary show a couple weeks ago. I've had over 400 episodes, and I'm just having a great time impacting the world, trying to impact the world, and trying to give value to the world and helping people get their message out to the world in a bigger way.
I love that. I love that so much. Sounds like I brought the right person on here with me.
Thank you. Thank you.
What would you say? I guess it's probably a hard question to answer, but what would you say is like the one message or thing that you like to share to the world the most?
I love letting people know and imparting to the world that you have something inside you that maybe you don't recognize yet. I tell people to stop thinking small. And the reason is because there was a point in my life where I was always thinking way too small. I know that I have a lot of skills and I know that I have a lot of talent, but I didn't always know where or how to use them. And consequently, I was stuck in a small game. And it's very easy to feel stuck in a small game when you're at a job. And I'm not hating on that at all. I did that for a long, long time. But I realized that there was something more for me. And I love the time freedom of having my own business. And I just love being able to choose what I do with my day.
Yeah. No, I love that so much, because that really is kind of the I guess underlying core of make money and have fun. It's
Mhm.
this idea that oftentimes people are out of alignment in their life. And my belief is that it's one of two things. It's either your finances or your fulfillment that are causing you to be out of line. And
Yes.
if we can bridge that gap between both, now we have alignment, we're fulfilled, we're making money. And at that point, for me at least, that just means success.
Yeah.
If you're doing both, you got to go in at that point. So
Oh,
Brian,
absolutely.
tell us about the books that you wrote. You were showing these off the other day. I want to hear more about these because these were fun stories. So
Yeah.
tell us about.
Yeah. So here's what happened. I wrote my first book. It was a student leadership book in 2009. And so that's a book that I didn't show you before, but I've got 4 books total right now. The 2 books that you're probably most interested in, the ones that I shared with you the other day, are this one and this one. You'll both see the titles are very similar: Success Profiles, Conversations with High Achievers, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And the commonality between these books is that I interviewed amazing people on my radio show, and I repurposed those interviews into books. And so that has been a lot of fun. And really, it gives me a great reason to interview really high achieving people too, because I get to learn, I get to share my platform with them, I get to share them with my audience, and I get to repurpose that content into books and or a magazine, because I also do publish a magazine 3 years strong now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's actually one of my thoughts with this show is repurposing it into a book like that.
Yeah.
I just got to meet more cool people. I mean, I had Les Brown on here, Alex Stern, Greg Reed, a couple big names
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And that's a list that's constantly growing.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing people like yourself on as well.
Yeah.
And I love that concept of just kind of creating this book from all of these power players, which really is how this show started.
Yeah.
How would you say, and I get this question a lot, and you're probably going to like this. What kind of advice would you give to somebody when they ask you, hey, how did you get Kevin Harrington on your show? Or how did you get Dan Locke on your show, or whoever? What kind of advice would you give that person?
I would say do some networking. In fact, I'll tell you what, both of them, well, one of those, Kevin Harrington came to me because of a Facebook connection that I had, and it wasn't anything that I was necessarily expecting. I was talking to this person, sharing what I do, and he was sharing what he does. And he mentioned that he was a business partner with Kevin Harrington, one of his businesses. And I just offhandedly said, I would love to interview Kevin Harrington someday. I think he's one of my favorite sharks. And he said, I can make that happen when we're done. Okay. Now notice I didn't say, can you hook me up? I just said, I was just expressing a wish. I think it'd be great to interview him someday. And the conversation was going well enough that he decided to provide that value to me. He connected me to his administrative assistant, and the very next day we had a show booked. Now, Dan Locke came to me through a PR agency, and about 1.5 years into my show, I started getting inquiries from PR agencies saying, hey, we love your show. We would love to have so-and-so on your show. And I get pitched a lot. In fact, most of my guests now come to me through PR firms that I like, know, and trust. So it's great. I've got several people who refer people to me, and I love it. I get to meet some amazing people, some of whom I've heard of before and some who I had never heard of before. But just because I haven't heard of them doesn't mean they're not amazing, because they are usually. So
it's actually funny because this is perfect timing. So this time last year, literally this day last year, before the whole 2020 happened for real,
yeah, mm-hmm.
I was in a seminar with a good friend of mine, Dr. Obama Bowen, who was actually on this show about a month or so ago.
I know him.
And yeah, he's an awesome dude. And I didn't know him prior to this seminar, but one of the things that he said is a closed mouth never gets fed. Mm-hmm. And that was something that stuck with me. And whenever people ask me like, hey, how the heck did you get Les Brown to come on your show, or Alex Stern or Greg Reed or whoever, I tell them, I just asked them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you just confidently ask, doors open up at that point.
Yeah, it is all about asking. In fact, I'm listening for the umpteenth time to an audiobook, and it's a book called The Aladdin Factor by Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. I have the physical copy, but I'm also listening to the audio version, and it's great. It just reminds me to ask, because I find that I don't ask nearly enough. But when I do ask, people are usually willing to accommodate or to point me in the right direction. And it's great. And now I am one of those people that if I'm lost, I will ask for directions. I just don't want to do it until I really have to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. One of the key things, and this is something that I'm going through right now too, is asking a better question. So it's funny because in 2020, I decided I wanted to become a speaker. I wanted to leave the investing world and move into the speaking world. And I was asking everybody, how can I become a speaker? How can I become a speaker? How can I, I want to be a speaker. What should I do? And I kept finding all of these speaking coaches. And I'm like, I don't really need help in that area as much as I need help in landing stages, finding event producers and inundating my inboxes with, leads basically. And I changed the question recently about last week. I'm like, you know what if I asked it this way? How can I get on more stages?
Yeah.
And one day I had 4 strong leads.
Yeah.
4 big fish leads. And it's like, you just change that little bit of a question.
Yeah. I referred someone to you.
Exactly. You see, and it's like so funny to me because I'm like, man, all I had to do was change my question and I got such different answers.
Oh yeah.
At that point. I love it.
I mean, Tony Robbins likes to say the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions that you're asking.
Exactly. He's someone we got to get on this show soon.
Yeah. I haven't interviewed him yet, but I've interviewed his son, Jarek. He was fantastic.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'm actually supposed to be speaking on the same stage as him next week, actually. So that'll be pretty exciting. Yeah. But we just got so many fun, interesting people on here. So what else do you do, Brian? So you got the radio show thing, you write magazines, you write books. What don't you do? How about that?
If it's tech related, I source it out.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't. In fact, I got pitched a show topic last night. And from a source that I usually trust, and I had to say, you know what, tech topics are not my zone of genius. I really don't think I would do this justice. So I should probably say no, but I really do appreciate that you think of me, though, that you thought of me. But what else do I do? Well, I publish a magazine. I do my monthly magazine. I also do special edition magazines for people who want to brand themselves. And I'm also doing producing quarterly magazines for clients who want to get out there on a regular basis. I do my radio show, and I also help people write their books, whether I do it through ghostwriting myself or whether I coach them through the process of doing that. So I've got clients doing both of those.
So would you say that like writing has really become kind of your thing that you like and enjoy in that world?
Yeah, I do. And I think I'm pretty decent at it. People are paying me to help them. So yeah, and I've always been a good writer. I realized that when I wrote my first book and when I had taught English composition in school, I realized, okay, I've done this just in a formal classroom setting. I can do this one-on-one with people.
Right. I think that's usually how it always starts. You have the experience yourself, and then you're like, you know what? Why don't I just share this with everybody else?
Yeah. What really slays me is there are people out there, and we hear of people who will try and teach something they haven't done before or teach something they've only done once. I'm like, okay, you could have just gotten lucky that first time.
Exactly.
You don't know all the stumbling blocks that could happen with the thing that you successfully did once, perhaps by a lucky stroke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always like to say that I started out in the real estate world, so I'm steeped in financial literacy and money, and the first half of my brand is make money. And I always tell people, I'm always more cautious with the person who's made a lot and hasn't lost it yet.
Yeah.
I always am more, I guess, eager to talk to the person who's made a lot, lost a lot, and made it all back.
And figured out how to get back. Yeah,
exactly. Because that shows me that they're actually out there taking the risk. Again, to quote Tony Robbins, he always talks about, your curse is your blessing. Right. Yeah. And life is this get to instead of this got to. And so I always look at it from the perspective of like, if you're not going broke, you're not working hard enough. Yeah. in a sense, in a certain sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, definitely. So what would you say is next for you, Brian? You got all this stuff going on. Where's this all leading to for you?
That's a really, really great question. I do want to be at a point, and I think I'm reaching that soon, where I need help, and so scaling and having help doing what I'm doing, so that I can work on my business more instead of in my business as well as quite so much.
I got you. And what would that look like, do you think?
I think finding people. I already have 3 graphic designers that I source out
Nice.
to because I don't have those skills at all.
Sure.
I did reach a point where I needed 3 at one time, so I did have to find a third one, and he was a home run. So that was really great.
That
But
works.
probably finding help people who may want to do some writing or may want to do some editing, and I can source some of that out.
Interesting. So you can have
Yeah.
like this whole like Brian Wright writing infrastructure. Brian Wright writing. Look at that.
Yeah,
I bet you get that one a lot, right?
I do. And
Right?
the other thing I get a lot is left, right, wrong. Like, okay, hi, you're funny, you're original.
I guess I should stop making fun of your last name then at this
It's
point.
okay. It's all good.
Most people just get my last name wrong. They go with the Posimo or something like that.
Yeah, or they start singing that Beach Boy song, Posimo.
Is that a song? I
Oh,
never actually heard that one before.
Kokomo from the Cocktail movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with that one. I've heard all the nicknames. There's
Yeah.
like Posimoto.
Oh,
And
that's
I
funny.
forget some of the other ones.
That's
But,
funny.
yeah.
Me and my Posimoto are traveling the country.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So Brian, what is the best way for people to hang out with you, interact with you, or just get in touch with you?
Yeah. You can find me on Facebook. Fred and I are Facebook friends. Brian K. Wright. You can see my name right there. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can go to briankwright.com, fill out my contact form, and connect with me there if you've got questions about anything specific. Or you can hop on my calendar, callwithbrian.com, if you know you want to talk about creating a book or creating a magazine or doing something. And I'd be glad to talk to you and see what that looks like for you.
Boom, there it is. Did I put it up? Nope. There it is. Callwithbrian.com. I love those. I have talkwithfred.com.
There you go.
Those are super cool. What are some of the topics that you would chat with people about if they connected with you here?
If they wanted to write a book, or they had questions about writing their book, or they wanted to talk about the possibility of me coaching them through doing that, we can certainly do that. If people want to talk to me about getting featured in my magazine or doing their own magazine, I would be glad to talk about what it would look like to produce that for you.
Hmm.
But if you're looking to create content or to get your message out to the world a bigger way, I'd love to talk to you and see what we can explore with together.
I love that. So let's kind of wind it back to the aspiring author, someone who's
Yeah.
never written a book.
Yeah.
What would be one piece of advice you would give to that person who wants to write a book but has never done it before?
Yeah. I would say figure out what your topic is going to be, because I talk to aspiring authors and some of them tell me I have no idea what I want to write about. Well, I would ask, what do people compliment you about a lot? Or do people ask you, how did you do that? That might be your topic for a book. If you are well known in a certain niche, then your book probably has something to do with that. I would just ask people, if I was to write a book, what would you expect it to be about? Sometimes that is a great way to jumpstart some ideas.
I like that last one. If I were to write a book, what would you expect it to be about?
Yeah.
I love that.
You might get a wide array of answers, and you might get several great ideas from that question.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. And I love the magazine thing. I think I'm definitely going to schedule a call with you just to talk about writing magazines, because
Yeah.
it makes me feel so cool being on a magazine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That'd be great. I'd love to talk to you about that. That'd be great.
That'd be super fun. Brian, is there anything else you would like to leave our viewers with before we have to say goodbye, unfortunately, to these kind people?
Yeah. Don't you dare play small. The world needs who you are.
I love it. Short, sweet, and to the point. In fact, I like it so much, I'm going to write it down and put it on the screen.
Yeah.
Don't you dare play small.
The world needs who you are.
Needs who you are.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom.
Look at that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Brian K. Wright, everybody. I love it. Brian, thank you so much for being here, man. This was a blast. We're definitely going to have to do this again sometime because you are such a cool dude.
Thank you, Fred. It was fun. Let's
Absolutely.
do this again sometime soon.
You got it. And be expecting that call from me soon.
All right. Sounds great.
You got it, brother.
Alrighty.
All right. For everybody else who's watching us, see you guys soon.